Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the gentleman from Texas for yielding me the customary 30 minutes, and I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, we have 4 bills in this rule today. All of them are completely closed. No amendments, no debate, completely closed. I feel like I'm in Russia. 3 of them are from the failed rule last night, which was the 3rd failed rule in this Congress, the 7th under Speaker Johnson, and the 10th of the reigning Republican majority. That alone demonstrates Republicans' inability to govern. And then we have the so-called Save America Act. The gentleman from Texas is going to spend today's debate trying to convince you that this is a common sense, simple bill. But I want you to remember a very few important facts while he's talking. First of all, it is already illegal for non-citizens to vote in federal elections, period, full stop. If non-citizens are voting in federal elections, they should be prosecuted. We don't disagree on that. Second, nobody disputes the fact that voters should follow the law and indicate who they are. We agree on that too. Nobody's debating that on the floor today. What we are debating is whether we are going to believe the BS conspiracy theories cooked up by Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans about whether or not elections can be trusted in this country. And what we're debating is whether, in response to those lies, we're going to require Americans to go down to their county clerk, to take the train to City Hall, or to drive down to the registrar's office and jump through bureaucratic hoops just to register to vote. Who asked for more red tape? Did Jim Crow call? I mean, that's what this bill is about. It's not about voter ID. It's about voter registration. And it's about voter suppression. We always tell people to vote, make their voice heard, participate in our democracy, right? Those are supposed to be good things. So why are Republicans passing a bill that makes it as hard as possible to vote? And I'll let them answer that question. But I guess it's about what I've come to expect from a party that no longer believes in democracy, though. Yesterday in the Rules Committee, I asked the chairman of the Committee on House Administration a simple question. Did Donald Trump win or lose the state of Minnesota in the last 3 presidential elections? I mean, not a curveball, not a difficult question. Of course, anyone living in reality knows the answer to this. Donald Trump lost Minnesota 3 times. But not Donald Trump. He continues denying election results. He said just last Friday that because of voter fraud, he feels he won Minnesota. And the Republican chairman of the House Administration Committee, the congressional committee which regulates federal election laws, couldn't give me a straight answer. I couldn't answer that question. He couldn't tell me if he agreed with Donald Trump. He wouldn't say who won Minnesota. He went through all kinds of contortions to avoid answering the question. I mean, this is a simple question. I mean, that is shocking, Mr. Speaker. I mean, you guys want America to trust you to write our election laws? America can't even trust you to tell us who won the election. Oh, and then here's another thing. One of the changes that were made, by the way, this bill didn't go through committee process. I mean, this is kind of rushed to the floor. All kinds of major changes have been made in the last week. But here's one of the major changes. This bill, if passed, was supposed to take effect in the year 2027. There's a change in this bill. It takes place immediately for this election. I mean, how is that going to happen? We have elections beginning in a matter of a few weeks. And you're expecting every state to be able to comply with all these new rules and regulations, like immediately? This is about sowing chaos and confusion, because my friends on the other side know they're probably going to lose the next election, and they're going to lose big. And rather than live up to the reality or respect the voters, they're going to try to make up some conspiracy theory that the election was stolen, or undocumented migrants came in and voted against them. And here's the hard truth. If Republicans want to know why people are losing faith in our elections, they ought to look in the mirror. They ought to look in the mirror. People are losing faith because Donald Trump, the election denier-in-chief, can't admit he lost. People are losing faith because Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel's FBI raided an election office based on recycled conspiracy theories in Fulton County, Georgia, and seized 2020 election results, even though it was Donald Trump who asked the Georgia Secretary of State to find 11,780 ballots so that he can win, even though he lost. And that's on tape. They're losing faith in our elections because they saw Pam Bondi trying to shake down Minnesota's state government, saying the administration would only withdraw ICE if Minnesota handed over their voter rolls to Trump's DOJ. And they're losing faith because of bills like this, which force every state in America to give their voter rolls over to DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Let that sink in. Probably one of the least trustworthy people in the country right now. I wouldn't trust Kristi Noem to tell me the correct time. And you're asking states to turn over their voting rolls to her? Give me a break. So we don't need any more lectures from Republicans about the sanctity of democracy or why people are losing faith in our democratic institutions. We know why. And we know what this bill is. This is Jim Crow 2.0. Republicans think when fewer Americans vote, they win. It's as simple as that. And I am so sick of the other side just making things up. This widespread voter fraud conspiracy. It's all part of the same election denialism that goes right up to the Oval Office. You know, the other side has been making these claims for years now. We've heard about this for over a decade. They claim massive numbers of non-citizens are voting, swaying elections, that rampant voter fraud is changing results. But every single one of those claims, Mr. Speaker, has been investigated and again by Republican governors and Republican secretaries of state, by journalists, by academic researchers, by President Trump himself, whose own voter fraud commission was disbanded because he couldn't find enough evidence to warrant the absurd allegations that he was making. Every time these claims are investigated, they disappear like a mirage. So this entire bill is fundamentally predicated on a lie. In fact, when you crunch the numbers, you're more likely to be struck by lightning than to successfully impersonate someone at the polls. Enough already. The Save America Act is a terrible bill that makes it harder for American citizens to participate in our democracy. That is it. America does not want to be saved by a Republican Party that spent a year propping up Trump's tariffs, which have driven costs through the roof. We don't want to be saved by the people who continue covering up for pedophiles in the Epstein files. And America certainly doesn't want to be saved by the same people who still can't get over losing the 2020 election, so they're going to try to rig the next one. Go save somebody else. But we don't want this garbage, and we will fight like hell to stop you from making it harder for millions of Americans to register to vote. We know why you're doing this. It's because you're afraid you're going to lose in November. Well, too bad. Too bad. Either change your crappy policies or face the voters and deal with the consequences of your own action. Those are the only two options in a democracy. I reserve my time.